I said not too long ago that we weren't quite done with the Transformers Titans Return line yet. And sure enough, I was correct, because we're going to take a step even closer to getting there today. We're going to take a look at the NYCC, I don't know if it's exclusive or if it was an early release, of the deluxe class, brilliant and beautiful, I might add, Grotusque, along with his Titan Master partner, I guess it's pronounced Fengul, and the other Titan Master known as Scorponok. We're going to focus on all this and discuss everything to do with these guys in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, share, check out Machinery of Man, the Everything Factor. Have a look for me everywhere. Why not spend some time on the channel, see what catches your interest, and we're gonna not waste any time. We're gonna jump into this, and I'm going to start off right away by removing these and him and even the mighty Skorponok from over there. Here's how he arrived. I did not manage, as many people didn't, to score this guy through, I guess, the most popularized means that he was released. Of course, the convention and from the company itself. I got this guy from Robot Kingdom. I've never ordered from them before or anything like that. It was a great experience. It was easy. It, you know, arrived, packaged really well. I was really pleased with how all of that went. Now, that being said, this is just a black box. It's pretty straightforward. It's in pretty good shape, not really dinged up or anything. So we come here, and as has been shown before, so I'm not going to waste too much time on it, you can open this up, and when you do so, by rights up top here, you would have the collector cards. I have those removed. We have them labeled here as Fengul and Grotusque on one side and Scorponok on the other. We kind of have the line art, I suppose, for the deluxe class figure and his head, as well as the other Titan Master. You can open this up, and of course you would have the Titan Master for Scorponok on the small flap and Grotusque on the large flap. The instructions are in behind. I really don't have a need to take them out. The artwork is pretty beautiful in here, showing Grotusque and all of his multiple animal glory, because he's kind of a mishmash of a lot of different animals. And you can see he breathes fire, which is kind of cool. But that's really it for, you know, for what we have here with the box. That's all you get. It is nice though that everything can go back in it, and you can display it this way or store it away safely. Now, because there's a few things here, we're going to kind of do this in two separate sections. So I'm going to take a look at Scorponok first. And here we have the ever popular collector card for Scorponok. Really, let's be honest, this deco is Zarak. And I would venture to say to you, and I'll explain why in a little bit, that this is the version of him that we saw in the Headmaster series rather than the Rebirth episodes. On the back we have the tech specs as always. He doesn't add a whole lot of strength. He does add a fair amount of speed and a little bit of intelligence, but a whole pile in the Fire Blast category. So, you know, I guess he can help add power, but this doesn't really impress me that much. And you'll see why in just a little bit. So taking this out of it, we're going to have a look at the big Mamma Jamma himself. And there you go, the mighty Scorponok. Now, I said that I think that this is more reminiscent of the Headmaster's version of Zarak, and indeed it is. The North American version has a Decepticon symbol on the chest, a red visor. This guy, you can't really see if there's paint on the eyes, but I think the eyes are separate. They should, of course, be red. But in the Headmaster series, he did not have a Decepticon symbol on his chest. So this is actually highly accurate. I'm going to give the paint apps a 10. Transformation, well, it's like any of these, you know, you can just flip them over. But before we get to that, articulation. The head is on a ball joint, the arms a little bit. He can get in a seated position. He is pinned at the hips. And that's about it. So articulation, again, about a 2 for these guys. And when you fold him over, you get a wonderful looking head for Scorponok. Now, I mean, it's small. I mean, it's not as big as what a Titan's head should be, but it is totally accurate. It is fantastic. This guy does have die-cast parts, mostly really the torso and the face here. The arms and legs aren't, the head isn't. But, you know, it looks good. In terms of these Titan Masters, again, because of the extra kind of TLC that this guy got, you know, he's probably a 5 in terms of these Titan Masters. Here's how he scales with Fort Max. Yeah, that works. Why not? Let's say that works. You know, they keep saying that Titans are done when it makes sense to do a particular character. I guess it makes perfect sense not to have a full scale Scorponok at this point, right? Right? Because this works. This here works, right? Yeah. Of course, after the somewhat bittersweet disappointment that was Scorponok. Now, don't get me wrong. As a Zarak, he's great. Like I said, he's a 5. But as a Scorponok, I'm sorry, it should be a Titan. It's as simple as that. Maybe people will disagree with me, and that's cool too, but I just feel like that we should have a proper counterpart to Fort Max. Nevertheless, we move on to something that is fantastic in this set, and that, of course, is the collector card for none other than Grotusque and Fengul. This one has the artwork kind of sideways instead of vertically, but I'm cool with that. He is in his alt mode, you know. Deep in the heat of battle, I suggest to you, in terms of his tech specs. Here they are. His strength is pretty good, even better with Fengul attached, as is his speed. You can see his intelligence is way up there. A lot of people are surprised by that, but if you know anything about the character, he is quite a strategist. That being said, he's also somebody who is pretty quick-witted, you know, does a lot of wisecracking and joke telling, sometimes not at the most appropriate of times, but he doesn't really take anything too seriously. He sees everything as kind of a big joke. I guess sometimes that works in his favor, sometimes it does not. Maybe it is masking his true inner pain. And his Fire Blast, well, that's okay too. Taking that out of it, we will take a moment here and look at his Titan Master. And here is the absolutely beautiful Fengul. It's a retool of Daburo, who came with Twinferno, who I looked at in full in episode 224. Daburo's head was largely based on the beast former White Leo, or White Leo, sorry. This guy is actually based on another one. I've heard a lot of people say that this is White Leo. No, it's not. This is Platinum Tiger. That's who it's based on. Or, you know, I'm saying it's Platinum Tiger. It's as close to Platinum Tiger as a Titan Master is going to get. I think that that's kind of cool that we got a nod to beast formers. I mean, you want to talk about an abstract reference. The paint on this, you know what, 15, I think it might be the single best painted Titan Master that we've gotten. No die-cast parts on this guy, but the paint is absolutely fantastic. The articulation's still about a 2. I mean, you can get in that seated position. The arms and the head are on ball joints. To transform him, again, that's about a 2. Overall, this guy's probably about a 7 in terms of being a Titan Master, but look at the gorgeous head sculpt. So much nice paint that is fantastic. The face is dark, it's probably difficult to see, but trust me, it is sculpted quite nicely. This is an absolute win as far as a Titan Master goes. And then we have the other accessories. These blasters, they are molded in this magenta, fuchsia kind of color, painted over. It's a reuse of the mold that came with Twinferno. It looks glorious. I'm sure that on some of the pegs, though they tried to avoid getting paint on them, some of mine do have them on either one. And I'm sure that over time they will probably have that bit of paint come off, but I'm cool with it. I dig these. Of course, they can go together like this, and when you put them together like this, you can take a Titan Master and you can peg them in on this side. Now, in case you're wondering, the handles of the blaster are actually facing down. He does not hold any better here than he did with Twinferno, so it's still a very loose connection, or at least it is on mine. Maybe results will vary, I don't know, but he's not solid on mine. And finally, we get to the main event of this set. It is, of course, Grotusque in all of his glory. He can naturally hold his blasters no problem in both hands. On his mold mate, Daburu and Double Cross, they can peg in on the back here. Now, that can be done in beast mode for this guy, but not in robot mode. The reason being, pretty simply put, and I'll take these out of his hand again, the reason being, we now have a head here. Okay, so what do? Do you have to leave him in his hands? Well, you got a couple of options. You can use these little holes up on the wings if you are so inclined. You can do that. It probably isn't the best option because if you do that, you put them in, let's see if I can even show it here. You put them in and you can only angle them down about that far, so it's going to stick off to the side quite a lot. But he has these rectangular slots on the side of his head, and you can take, well, there's a number of pegs, but specifically this peg, the one that's on the same axis, I guess, as the handle of the blaster. You can take that peg and stick it in on the side, and you can have these facing up, or you can have them facing, I'll put this one in down, or you can have them facing down. It's not the most, secure of connections, but it works. So taking these back out of it. By the way, they're going onto the head, so potentially in his beast mode you could have these huge cannons off the side of his head. That's kind of cool too, I guess. The paint apps for this guy, easily a 9.75. If you know the original animation, there's a couple of very minor things here that aren't accurate. He should have more blue on the chest, like this lower jaw being that shade of, again, what do you call this? Pink? Fuchsia? I don't know. That lower jaw being that shade. I understand why they did it for the animal mode, but that whole section should pretty much be blue. The middle of his pelvis in here should be white like his fists. And his feet should be that same sort of maroony fuchsia color instead of gray. But again, I see why they did what they did. This is highly, highly accurate. He has paint apps all over the place, like on his arm here. There's an Autobot symbol over here that's kind of broken up, like you can't really see it that great, but it is there. Maybe you can see it, I'm not sure. But yeah, strong start for this guy. Like I said, 9.75. The articulation, well, the head of course can move left and right, no real up or down, just a little bit of wiggle. Same with side to side, just a little bit of wiggle, nothing major. You can still move the wings back and forth just like you could with Twinferno. The arms can swivel all the way around. We do have a bicep swivel. We have 90 degrees at the elbow. Now this I like. This I really like. The arms can swing out, and get this out of the way, and all the way up, because we actually have a little flap right here on the outside of the shoulder that moves to allow the arm to have a full range of motion. I think that is absolutely fantastic. I love it. We go to the waist, and nothing at the waist. His hip skirt can still come up just like his, mold mate. The legs can still go forward and back. We can bend very nice and deep at the knee. We do have a thigh swivel. We do have the ankles that can rotate, which is a bit of a weird movement, but it can do it. Out of package, these claws are in this position. Naturally, you're probably going to want to straighten them up just so they're not banging into each other when he's standing up. He stands like an absolute champion. And last but not least, the legs, if I get this out and this out, can go all the way out to the sides for full splits. And I don't know if I showed all the way forward and all the way back, but honestly, it'd be nice if the guy had a waist swivel. I kind of get why they didn't do it. At least I don't. Is there a lower waist swivel? No, there's not. I kind of get why they didn't do it. It'd be nice if he had a waist swivel, but he has a lot going for him. Enough that I'm going to give his articulation, honestly, a solid 9.25. This guy is getting a 9.5, no doubt. What about the transformation? It is similar to Twin Infernos, but not exactly the same. Before we get into that, however, we're going to just place him there and show him alongside his wave mate. There are two of our monster bots, and they look good. I think that they both turned out pretty great. It's too bad that this guy doesn't have wrist swivel, but whatever. And of course, here is the third one, Repugnus, who I looked at in episode 321, as well as what's considered to be an alternate mode. And I'm going to show one more apparent alternate mode now. He is one of very few, if not the only Titan Master who can actually also take a robot form. Because his whole Titan Master head fits in here, you could pick up the beast head, and the head of the Titan Master actually stays there. So, though he's kind of a Legion size, not even Legends, kind of a Legion size, technically he can use the body of the monster, fold up the entire head, and use the little itty bitty head of the Titan Master itself as his robot head. So, here you go. 3 monster bots. And easily Repugnus, who is, the least liked of the 3, like he's the least personable, is also the smallest. Too bad we didn't get a full deluxe for this guy. Maybe one day we will. But for now, I kind of dig that we at least have versions of them. Though Repugnus is not my favorite. If you want to know my thoughts on him, look at episode 321. By the way, somebody asked me recently what I mean by these episodes when I mention them. Anybody who knows me or has been following me for some time knows that I've taken a look at ever so many bots by now. And I have them all put in a playlist and organized, and I have them organized numerically. So when I give you a number, that's exactly the one that you can go to if you want to see my thoughts on anything that has already come out. Anyway, moving on, taking this guy out of it, let's look at the transformation, which of course is really similar to Twin Inferno, and I'll kind of touch on what's different as we go through. We begin, of course, by taking off his Titan Master, who we will, for now, just get in a seated position, lay to the side. The arms are really the big difference here. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of remolded pieces, like in the chest. I think that his hip skirt is probably also remolded, it looks like. The thighs seem to be the same. The entire arms, hands, and shoulders are the same. The wings are the same. The head on this guy is totally new. So there's a lot of remolded pieces. If you want to talk about how to do a mold reuse, this is it. Take the skeleton and tweak it so that it becomes something new unto itself. Okay, so we fold in the fists, as we so often do. And for now, we're just going to straighten out the arms here. We fold in the fists. We turn them all the way around and all the way around. And we put the claws down and the claws down. Now you might say, wait. Oh, and I just popped the claw off. But that was my own fault because I took it too far. Now you might say, wait, hold on, GotBot. You already done the elbow bend and now you turn the arm around. So does that mean it has to bend back like that? No, 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 my friends. It can also have a 90-degree elbow bend this way. So I guess in robot mode you can make it look like he broke his arm. Now, that's totally different because of course with Twinferno, when you dealt with the arms, you detached them from the side and brought them up together here over the top. You don't do that this time. You just leave the arms to the side. We now have claws out over where the hands once were. Then we come to this chest section here, this blue chest piece. And we flip it out and we take this fuchsia-y piece here and we flip it out. That's his lower jaw and lower mouth. And we can kind of just bring all that up for now. We come to the back and we can put the wings out flat there for now so that you can see. We angle out the head just a little bit and we bring the top of the head up over. Now, you basically push the two of these together. The blue part flipping up is kind of tight the first couple of times you do it. Don't worry about breaking it. It will move. And I say to you, don't worry about breaking it. It will move because I firmly believe that this guy's going to get a wider release. Heading into the holidays, I firmly believe that we're going to see more of him, and I hope so because I think a lot of people would really kind of dig this guy. Okay, so we have the upper body now done. The lower body really works the exact same way as Twinferno, but I do find that the way the joints move and the way the tabs and stuff work here are easier. I like it better. And I'll explain what I mean now as we go through here. So we come down to the feet, I guess. See if I can remember this now, because it's been a little while. Okay, we bring the tail out, and there you go. Detach the foot and open it. We come over here and we do the same. We detach the foot and open it. So now we have the legs open, one leg bent, and we bend the other one. These are going to come up around. There's a couple of tabs right down here. And they're going to go into holes that are along these edges. I explained it, pretty in depth when I looked at Twinferno. So I'm only going to do it quickly here, but that's what locks it into place. They are on my copy of Double Cross, or Twinferno, whatever you want to call them, very hard to get on. They're not hard to get on here. So it might be results vary. I might have just lucked out, who knows. But you fold up these legs in over the thighs. And really, you can tab them together and tab the tail together. Now that being said, though I'm doing all of this now, I'm pretty certain that that's gonna come apart again. But don't worry about it. Not a big deal. We open out the leg here and basically bring it all the way down and around. Bring the toe forward. Same over here. We open up the leg. We swivel it all the way down and around. Bring out the toes, no problemo. You kind of angle this up just a little bit here. And now you're going to bring in this fuchsia piece and this fuchsia piece. As you do so, it should come in over the hip panel, I guess, the skirt, the pelvis skirt. And then you'll notice that you have little slots on the inner edge of these. They'll go over the little tiny tabs in right here on his very, very, very lower waist. So we bring that one in, and we bring that one in. And I'm just going to clean this guy up slightly. We're going to take a closer look at him with his accessories. And here we have him in his beast mode. I do have his tummy open. Why do I have that done? Well, that's pretty simple because just like with his buddy that used the same mold, we can put his head in here, Fengul's in there. all nice and safe and sound and cozy. Now his two cannons, I guess, we can, as I mentioned earlier, we can still use this tab and this tab, and they can go on his back just like they can with double cross. Just like that. Right? No problem. There they are, up on his back. Or we can take these off and we can affix them to the side of his head. You're gonna have to pardon me a little bit. I was having a heck of a time trying to get those in there, but you can have them looking like this if you're so inclined. If you like that look, that's a possibility. His transformation, I feel like it works a bit better than it does for Double Cross and or Twinferno, if you will. And I like the look of this. The fact is, you know, he's supposed to be, you know, his name is supposed to be a play on the word grotesque, which could be interpreted two ways, both in terms of him being this, you know, kind of hard to look at, mishmash, disgusting type of creature, but it does refer to, as well, an art style, I believe. I think it was like sculptures or something that included a lot of different animal inspirations that would be molded onto like Gothic structures. You can look it up. You can find that out yourself. But it's something along those lines. So I prefer to think of him in that respect because I think he looks absolutely glorious. Love the guy. The transformation, because I think it works a little bit better and gives us a more interesting mode. I don't even know what I scored the other guys, but I'm going to score this one an easy 9. It's easy to do in both directions. Overall, this guy's a 9.25. It is a great entry in the line. It really, really is. I totally dig it. He's a 9.25. You know, little Scorponok here is a... Oh, and he fell. Little Scorponok here is a 5 for what he is, even though what he is really a Zarak. But overall, I think it's a great set. If you can nab it, you know, nab it. I certainly wouldn't pay astronomical prices for it. I mean, it's still a deluxe class figure that comes with an extra Titan Master, but well worth it. An excellent, excellent entry. By the way, I recently got a lot of flack too from people who looked at my most recent countdown, and I just wanted to point out a couple things. It wasn't meant to be definitive at all. And as a matter of fact, I want people to tell me other ones that they would include on the list or like to see. And I've got some great kind of suggestions, such as ROTF Leader Megatron. Great one. Absolutely. I didn't even think of that. I got a lot of people who made a bunch of Beast Wars suggestions too, and I understand that, but I specifically tried to steer clear of them because I think a lot of those selections would just be too obvious. Though I really had a Tarantulas on my mind. Anyway, that's it for this guy. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for giving me some of your very valuable time. This guy is an absolute win in my books. Let me know what you think. And as always, I want to thank you for dropping by. And I very much look forward to the next time that you and I get together for another visit right here inside the videos.